Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Tuesday, the 21st of October 2025. So Santa's coming and they just shorted the lows as US ETF shorts saw the largest percentage increase in 5+ months. So is there going to be a squeeze that will send prices higher? Seems to be the opinion of this particular article. So Santa's coming. He may have not given up on Christmas, but I still believe there's something big afoot as far as a sort of black swan events are concerned. But an interesting headline there. Gold rises to a record 30% of global reserve holdings, will overtake US dollar above $5,790 per ounce. Gold share global reserve holdings has risen from 24% at the end of June to 30%, currently taking the spot price of gold into account. And once gold tops $5,790 per ounce, it will become the largest reserve asset in the world. Well, I look forward to that. It's a nice level, 5,790, just rounded up to $6,000 an ounce. That would be fine. US stocks rallied heading into big tech earnings despite quiet news flow. Now, this is interesting as well because this means that in combination with the so-called seasonal center rally, the big tech earnings are usually very, very positive. And again, it says here that optimism regarding US-China trade after Trump largely echoed recent remarks and reaffirmed he will meet with Chinese President Xi. And stocks and gold grind higher in quiet trade. Different ball game for the silver price. Trump reiterates 155% tariffs will come to China unless a deal is made. So Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is to meet with China this week. Hassett thinks government shutdown will end sometime this week too, which would be useful. And US and Australia sign the critical minerals agreement, strong China activity data, Japan's LDP, etc., etc. So, let's have a look at economic news. Well, obviously the US government is still closed at the moment, but obviously there's hoping to have some sort of a deal done by Thursday. I think that takes us to 3 or 4 weeks. It's been going on for some time, hasn't it? But nothing today, nothing until we get to Friday, wasn't it? I think when we have the CPI numbers, it's Friday. Okay, let's have a look at this rally from yesterday and kick off with the Dow. So in the Dow, another positive day, the market moving up, trading up to the 78-89% levels. We've got to stay above this if the market's going to have any success in trading back above the 47,053, which is the all-time high, but down slightly there on the overnight at the moment. Nothing much happened yesterday until we got to the cash market. The cash market opened, started to sell, but wallop straight to the upside and off we went. So the market at yesterday's high, but coming off that at the moment, so a bit of weakness around in the pre-market there for the Dow, or the overnight session where it's currently stuck at the moment. So the daily chart needing to stay above that, or needing to close above the 78% retracement to get to the 89 to the all-time high. Looks like we're going to have the all-time highs back on the cards within a matter of days. And in the German DAX, this trading to the 62% golden ratio yesterday. Well, overnight, the market there struggling with this too, but we're through the 38 and the 50% retracement there at the moment. So price is having a bit of a breather. If we go to the 30-minute chart, you can see there this too, finding a bit of profit taking overnight as well, coming back off the high with some weakness there. Watch the DP level and the 50 EMA for some sort of support. However, yesterday, unlike the Dow, the DAX moved higher, had a bit of a pullback around the 10 o'clock time, and then the rest following the Dow to the upside there, which you can see. And in the S&P 500, trading up to the 89% retracement, the market has stopped at this level, and it's at this point where you tend to see if we're going to find a change in trend or not at 89%, but at the moment the market currently holding. We can get rid of the 78 there. That will be determined by how, if there is a strong selling day coming into the market following this sort of price action. 30 minutes, again, just like the Dow, it was down in the morning on the electronic session, but as soon as the cash market opened, it was straight to the upside. We're off the high of yesterday and heading down towards the 50 EMA we've got there, and the DP at the moment, because we're through the close and the high as well. In the FT100, we've got a cluster of volume there, and again yesterday big volumes for the FT. All of a sudden it's become a very interesting market. There seems to be an awful lot of volume for these last 3 days. Market struggling with the 50% retracement. It is above it, but would need to close above the 62% retracement there as well. But a bit of weakness again for this market overnight, coming back below yesterday's high. So up in the start of the session, then down, and we traded sideways for several hours until the cash market came in on the US market and the FT100 following that. So not really going up based upon any UK fundamentals, but on the catching a ride with the US there. And US dollar moving to the upside today, or well, certainly on the right. This is not good for the metals, particularly silver. I think is in for another hammering, to be honest, and a look at the $50 level. All of the fundamentals are pointing to that it should be moving, but it's not moving. So let's have a look. So silver becomes a critical metal. There's shortages. The Royal Mint's got delays. The Perth Mint has stopped deliveries. China's buying up a lot of silver. India can't get any silver, and yet the market was barely up yesterday, and it's down on the overnight. I think $50 per ounce is where we're going on this. Given an opportunity, they've got control. I know they've assumed control, because you only have to look at the volumes on the days where they can actually put 1 billion ounces of paper silver into the market and stop it moving, and they've done this now. This is third time lucky, and the market is struggling to move higher. I hope it does move higher and takes out this 54.45, but at the moment consolidation to lower for me, heading back down towards the $50 sort of level, shake out some of these week longs. But that's the way it's looking at the moment, and the 30-minute chart also showing this. You can see just taking advantage of overnight and slamming the price down to the S1 level. We need to take out the all-time high in order to convince me that we're not going to go down to 50 at the moment. But at the moment, it's not looking good for the silver market. And the gold market, well, we got a new all-time high put in place yesterday, and again it wouldn't even be dragged up by the gold price moving to the all-time high. And there is weakness in gold as well overnight as well, with the strength of that US dollar. Got a hold at the DP, and if it doesn't, then this too is going to be coming back down quite sharply as well. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio, which also is quite telling. So in the gold-silver ratio, again, another up day yesterday. No surprise there, because silver wouldn't move and gold did, and on the overnight as well. So gold still falling back slower than silver is being sold at the moment. So again, I'd expect the gold-silver ratio to continue to the upside at the moment. Like I say, I could be completely wrong, but it's starting to feel very, very odd. Very much like 2021 when they rallied the market up to $36. It stayed there for a few days, and then it made its way back down, and it's starting to feel slightly almost. I know it's a critical metal now, and there's every chance of it continuing to move higher, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, it's seriously undervalued. But certainly for the next few days, it's going to be testing for this metal to actually try and stay above or stay in the 50s for me at the time of recording. Right, let's have a look at yesterday's trades. So in the pre-market for the German DAX, you can see the market was up, and then we sold off to begin with, and then the market bouncing off this, going through the high of Friday, which is always important. If you can get back through the high of the previous day, that's always a great thing. And we traded all the way up to the R1, and then prices started to move lower and then reversed, as you can see there, trading to the upside. So a loss on the first trade, and then a reversal on the upside to then reverse once more. And there's your 89% retracement. There's a smaller version of it, and then heading to the downside there. for putting in a double bottom before then prices moving sideways to lower, all the way down to the high, just through to the 200, where the market then found support just before the 10 a.m. cutoff. So again, you can see that pattern there, up and then down as it played out. So back up and all the way through to the Dow, where the market obviously moved to the upside sharply in the US. And then we had this similar picture to the first trade that was a loser in the morning session, where prices move lower, and then you'll see the buying coming in there. So we got the buying coming in and then prices reversing to the upside. Got a bit more selling coming in here as the market went back to the R2 where it saw the selling in the morning, and then prices putting in a buy signal and moving back to the upside there to recover that other loss as well, until it ran out of steam at the 24,300 level. Where are we overnight? Well, let's just have a quick look. We're sitting at the 24,300 level at the moment, so trying to find a bit of support here. We've got a bit of buying coming in at the moment for this market. It needs to hold at this level. We're through the high and the close, the 200 MA, the 50 and the 20 bar at the moment, so all pointing to the downside to begin with. So let's have a look and see what we got below. If we do break, well, we've got the DP, which is 100 points below this level, so that's always a possibility when we open, trade down to the DP and then turn the ship around and then bring it back to the upside. Right, that's it for this one. Let's see what happens during today, and hopefully silver will stay above the sort of 51 level, but it's looking slightly ominous to me. And the bankers certainly have gained control, regained control, as it were, with these massive billion ounces. But it's not selling off massively, which it did do in 30 when it got to 36 in 21. Right, that's it for this one. Have a great day, and as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.